Welcome to the Sexy Freedom Media Podcast, a place to discuss pain, passion, and pursuits.
Let's get it. I want to feel alive.
Breathe.
Make some moves.
Protect the throne. This is Sexy Freedom Media Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the Sexy Freedom Media Podcast. It's your host, Helen Edwards, and
January Liddell. Aloha.
hey, January.
Hey, Helen. How are you? Happy Friday.
Yes, thank God it's Friday, right? TGIF. I'm really excited about today's topic because we are jumping in 2023 with the subject all surrounding about money, abundance, prosperity. Give me some of your thoughts today. Well, first of all, everybody, thank you for watching us. Thank you for listening. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go there now, Sexy Freedom Media. Like, love, share this post. And if you do share this on Instagram, please tag your handle and we will go ahead and repost that for you on our story. And also give us a 5-star review if you enjoy this podcast all the way through. January, let's talk money mindset.
All right. So let me share by saying I took a class. Actually on money mindset. And when I first took it, I thought to myself, I'm good. I'm good with money. I'm okay. And little did I know that I actually had some money trauma. When I started the program, a lot of things started coming out, and I realized that I did have some money trauma issues. And it was good. It was good to actually take this class. I was open. I think that's the one thing that I'd like to share with everybody is to be open, because there's so much to learn about money mindset. And for me, getting to the heart and core of the abundance, like opening the abundance mindset frame was key. And I thought I had it already. I'm good. But no, I was, yes, I felt like Coach Tasha Chen really like dug in deep and opened up certain things, money blocks that I had. So yeah, it's key. It's key to actually discuss. That's the foundation, I feel like, for everything, because why do we work? Well, we work because we need to earn money. We need to put food on the table, have our fun times, pay utilities, pay whatever, mortgage, rent. So in order to get that flowing, to get that money flowing, there is a different mindset that we have to incorporate. And so ironically, my journey I came from a health and wellness industry, but my journey led me into the finance industry. And I absolutely love the finance industry, hence why I'm wearing the shirt. This is Extreme One Financial. I actually help people with their retirement plans. And so amongst other things, there's other things that I can do. So yeah, so that money trauma for me was it was huge for me to clear and to, get rid of and all that. How about you, Helen? Why is this important for you to talk about today?
I love your share, January. I was thinking a lot about this subject and the mindset, when we want money, when we want this abundance, for me personally, it goes back and it's deeply rooted because I come from the poverty mindset. I come from a lack mindset, and it stems, it's a generational mindset that was passed on. And once I realized that I've got to start changing my story, I thought it was going to just be easy peasy. It's a lot of work when you grow up in the soil of lack and poverty. That is what your makeup is. That's what you give off. That's what your blueprint is. And the results are going to speak for themselves. It's lack, it's poverty, it's I don't have enough, it's I can't. And I had to really come to terms with, one, how I became aware is I started listening to the words that were coming out of my mouth. And then second, I started listening to the way I was feeling about money. And that's when I was like, oh my God, no wonder I don't have. That was my story, that I don't have. It was important for me to change it so that way I can teach my son to change, that it can be done, that you can live happy, wealthy, and healthy. I wanted him to see that I was doing it. So that's why it's so important to me, obviously for myself too.
Yeah, no, that's the same, for me. But I actually had to for me, I had to realize that I had that mind frame, that mindset, and I didn't understand. I didn't know. So taking, that class really opened up my mind to just a different perspective. And I think for me, as a woman of faith, my mindset is that, oh, we shouldn't want for more. That, at least that's what I was thinking. We shouldn't want for more. Like, we're good, God is already providing and all that. But as I dig deeper into the Bible, and in this course, surprisingly, because I wasn't thinking that that was a part of it, but surprisingly, Tasha mentions God, mentions, that there's actually verses and things in the Bible that do talk about abundance and God wants us to be happy and all that. And so I switched my perspective. So yes, it was vital for me to be grounded in that mindset and also to be able to share it with my kids. So now I have to say, as I was going through the class, as you're going through the class, sometimes you don't really know that you're absorbing all of that, because you just kind of go through the motions of it all. But if you learn about money mindset and you capture all of these positive things about money, affirmations about money and abundance, and one of the key phrases that we would always say is, I am a money magnet. I am a money magnet. And that was just something that we kept saying. The more that you keep saying that repetitively, the more it just flows. I can't explain this energy, but it just continues to flow as you just keep saying it. I'm a money magnet. I'm a money magnet. And really absorb yourself, embrace yourself into this whole new world of believing and feeling that money is abundant. And I can tell with my kids that even with them, the money just keeps flowing for them. So we started their accounts, and I'm trying to teach them at this point, to save, spend, and share. Those are the three things that I've learned: save, spend, and share. And that's kind of the mind frame that I'm teaching my kids, and anyway, I want to kind of circle back to this class that I was taking. One of the things that we were digging deep into is the book, The Science of Getting Rich. Have you heard of that, Helen?
Yes, I've read it.
Yeah. So The Science of Getting Rich. And we looked at each individual chapter weekly and really, dissected it and discussed it. And one of the things that I took away from that book was, there's a couple things, because it's so full of lessons. But one of the things that I learned was gratitude, to be in gratitude. Even with Tasha's class, that was the big thing, is to be in gratitude. In fact, I have and I'm going to show you right now. I have this gratitude journal that I use. Oh, okay. I'm going to show this one. So it's a planner. Okay. So it's just a regular planner that I use, but in it, I have like each day I put my gratitude in there, and I can tell the more that I am grateful, energy just flows. And that was the big thing about this book, is energy just flows.
Okay, that's really cool what you're talking about, like being grateful for what you have. One thing that really struck out to me this week, I don't know if I told you, but I'm doing a 365-day challenge of every day listening to a different podcast on money. And it's just day 6, and I've already like blown away on things that I've never heard, or I've heard in a different way that just really clicked with me. But, in regards to what you're saying, being grateful, on Monday, I listened to this podcast, and the gentleman said, appreciate the money you have now. Appreciate the money you have now, because when the universe or God or whoever it is, or whatever it is that you believe in, when you appreciate what you have now, you're going to be blessed with more of that. Because if you can't appreciate what you have now, then why would you be gifted or given or even attract more of that? So I love that you said that.
Yeah, definitely. And it's this magical thing. I can't even explain what it is, but it's definitely this flow of energy. Again, I know I can't, that's the best way that I can explain, is that it's just this energy. One of the things that Tasha taught us too is that, if you see a penny, the way that I look at a penny now is pretty amazing, because sometimes, oh, it's a penny. No, that's $1 million, so that's kind of how I look at it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm $1 million richer. If I find 25 cents, I'm $25 million richer. So it's just this, as I mentioned earlier, it's a switch of a mind frame, right? It's shifting your mind frame of how you look at things. And for me, the mind frame was vital in how I live my life now. So now I, like yourself, I came from a lack mindset, and that lack mindset always led me to, I was always afraid, like if I was going to use my debit card, if there was money, are they going to decline the card? So I always had that fear, before, and that was not a good feeling. And that saying, thoughts become things. And I really do believe in that. Thoughts become things. So the more that I was thinking in that way and fearing, I noticed that I didn't progress. I didn't progress as far as I wanted to progress. But as I was saying earlier, the more that you tell yourself, or you say all these positive affirmations to yourself, money affirmations to yourself. And there are several out there, I actually belong to this, I get this email every day, Daily Finance. And so they have daily, affirmations, and you say that to yourself, it compoundedly grows, which is ironic because that's exactly what I do. I actually have something that compoundedly grows uninterruptedly, right? So the more that you do every single day, you are growing. You may not think that you are, but you are growing. So just like Helen, just keep on doing it. 365 days, keep on doing it.
I want to use January as an example here, because everything January is telling us is, she's saying that she's working with somebody, she took a course with somebody or a workshop with somebody, she's read a book, you're doing things. That's the example here, is that you're doing things, you're investing your time, you're investing possibly money into these programs that's helping you shift and change. And a lot of people think, oh, I could just do it on my own, I'm self-made. Okay, but you're self-made with the assistance of other people. So you're actually molded and made by assistance from outside sources. And there's no shame in that. That's a beautiful thing, because humans are meant to help humans grow.
Yeah, I agree. For me, when I signed up for this class, so I invested, and I'm going to say I invested quite a lot of money into this class. And I was scared. I was scared to do it because, like, what is this going to teach me? I already know about money, I'm thinking and that's a block, right? You're blocking your blessing by telling yourself, everything. And so when I jumped into this, one, I invested a ton of money. Okay. So a lot of money into this. But I jumped into it scared, and I also jumped into it open. So I did open up. So even though I was scared, even though I was like, oh, but I know everything about, money, I I really didn't actually. When she first starts the class, it is about money mindset, and it is about releasing the money trauma. So we journaled a lot. So that is the other thing that I learned is journaling, how journaling is so vital, in our growth and expansion. So just like Helen said, invest in a coach, invest in a program that's going to uplift you, accelerate you. And I really felt that this experience that I had with this particular program really helped me because, I was consistent. I was consistent every day. I was reading the book, Science of Getting Rich. And I was just in that mind frame, again, the whole repetitive, you have to tell yourself repeatedly things that you want to accomplish in yourself. So if you want to be rich and you want to be that abundant self, you have to tell yourself that. And it really does work magic. It's so hard to explain, but it's magical.
Like January said, when you already know that, you are blocking the blessings. Something I tell women in my retreats, and I've told friends of all sorts, if they're wanting to grow their business and wanting to stay open, the four most dangerous words are, I already know that. And you don't know everything, and there's always something to learn, and there's always room for growth. So even if you've taken somebody's workshop on mindset and you've gone through all of the same questions, and you take another person's workshop or another coaching session or course, and then they ask you the same questions about mindset, there's always something deeper. There's always something maybe in your subconscious that will come up in that moment that didn't come up in the one previous. And that's why it's so important when you're after or wanting to reinforce the money mindset is to keep growing and keep being the student and learning.
Helen, let me ask you. So what are some affirmations that you tell yourself when it comes to money mindset?
I want to say that I'm pretty consistent. I just use the same one almost every single day throughout the day. I say I am a rich goddess. I am a wealthy diva. I am a wealthy queen. I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire boss queen. Just the same one. So that way it really reinforces what I stand up for, and who I stand up for, and that person is me. And if I'm standing up for myself, then I'll catch myself when I'm falling. I'll catch myself when I'm in a lack mindset, and I'll just say, no, queen. I am a wealthy queen. I'm a wealthy goddess. I'm a rich goddess. I'm a rich diva. So I really reinforce that saying. I try to keep it simple with myself. And one of the things I do want to share is, and I shared this actually in the last solo casts I did, it was so profound that I want to share it with you, January, because I really want to hear your thoughts on it. I heard this in my first podcast of the year, and it was saying, don't talk about being broke, a lack mindset bonding. I'd never heard this before, and I thought, oh my God, how profound. So it's similar to trauma bonding, right? If you're attached to somebody and you can't get out, and you kind of figure like, why do I keep allowing this person treat me so badly, so poorly, so abusively? And it's because there's some trauma bonding there. That's what's got you so attached to that. It's the same with a lack mindset, or there's another word for lack. I can't think of it right now, but it's the same with that mindset, that broke mentality. There's a bond there that you have with yourself, with that story, with your friends, maybe with other people. And it goes along lines of, if you're on the rise and then somebody pulls you down and you go back down to their level because they can't get up to your level, that's a bond right there.
Yeah, I agree. It kind of reminds me of there's a book about being with like the five people. Gosh, I can't remember the name of the book, but whoever you're associated. Do you know the book?
I don't know which book, but I know what you're talking about. I've heard the same thing with numerous speakers and successful mindsets out there.
Yeah. So you are who you are based on the 5 people that you're associated with. That's basically the premise of it all. And in our last podcast, last week, we were talking about how I've learned from people who earn much more than me, right? So as a financial strategist, I've actually talked to numerous plethora of people, all of different financial background, and obviously I learn more from those who are elevated, much more elevated than me, which inspires me and actually thrives me and drives me to reach that goal, right? So one of the my clients that I'm talking with, he's so inspiring, and he's inspiring because he's thinking outside of the box. Okay, so one of the things about money mindset is that if you continue to stay in that lack mind frame and that mindset of I'm broke, I'm always going to be broke, and you tell yourself this, right? I don't have money, I don't, whatever, all these words, that are in your mind, because sometimes it's not verbal, it's something that you're actually saying to yourself, right? It's just much like that negative self-talk, right? So if you're telling yourself this and you're saying this, then that's where you're going to stay. I mean, I hate to be the downer, but that is where you're going to stay, because you're not going to uplift yourself. Even if you tell yourself, I want to be rich, I want to, if you don't believe it for yourself, you're not going to elevate. You're not going to elevate yourself, which is why I like this guy, because he is so inspiring. He's like, I could do this. So yeah, so be mindful of the 5 people that you're surrounded with.
Perfectly said. And it's so true. And I think some people they feel fear right away when they hear that. They're like, oh my God, I got to give up my friends. You don't have to give up your friends. You don't have to give them up. What we're saying is reach up, not sideways. And actually, Grant Cardone said that. I want to share something that I heard on Kathy Heller today. And I love this. I love this perspective because it does help build your money mindset, your successful mindset. She said, don't be the most cheapest and affordable thing for other people. Don't be a Walmart. It's not sexy and not abundant. There is no branding in it. It's a warehouse. No heirlooms or people saying how it changed their lives. Being cheap is not a vibe.
Ooh, she just dropped some knowledge. Yes, don't be
instant, right? Instant mindset shift. And I thought about that and I was like, oh my God. I mean, that alone was like, hello, Helen, you need a level up, girl. I'm talking about big time level up, because you ain't no Walmart, girl.
Oh my gosh, what an interesting quote. So why did that resonate with you, Helen?
I could tell you that it resonated with me because when it comes to pricing out what I do with all of my different products, I'm always thinking, how can I make things affordable for people who don't have that much money? Because I remember what that was like. And I'm always reaching down and reaching back. And there is nothing wrong with that if you're trying to give back. But am I putting that much energy to reach back as I am to reach up? And I realized, well, now, yes. Now the answer is yes, but I remember when it wasn't. And it made me want to level up even further. If you view yourself as your business, like I am my business, okay? If you view yourself as your business, what are you doing to grow every day? And, going back to the money mindset subject, it's very important to shift your shift your mindset to something that you connect with. And for me, that really resonated because I'm a very visual person and I actually don't like going into Walmart. I'm kind of one of those persons that will and a ton of people out there, don't act like you ain't one of these people that's like, oh, I hate going to Walmart, right? There's not a good energy in there. Sometimes you're like, oh, I'm stressed. Like I want to get out of here as soon as possible. I don't want to be a Walmart. I want to be, Nordstrom. I want to be, Banana Republic, something big, something where people do find heirlooms, something that does touch people's lives, something that people paid $300 for a t-shirt and they're like, oh, I'm going to be careful with this t-shirt. The idea is that you elevate yourself. You think of yourself more worthy. And that's a part of the money mindset. That is, especially if you want abundance and prosperity.
Yes, absolutely. So at Walmart, and I'm going to tell you, I actually like Walmart. I like going to Walmart. I don't think of myself as Walmart, but I do like to save money. So I go to Walmart. But if somebody goes to an interview in just jeans and a shirt or pajamas, right? There's a whole different mind frame when you're in that type of outfit. Okay. So just like what you were saying, that Walmart attitude, I have my own business, and as my own business, I don't know if you can see here, it's commitment, excellence, and integrity. Okay. Commitment, excellence, integrity. That is our mission in our company, right? Commitment, excellence, and integrity. And so even though that I just sit right here in Zoom and I'm, discussing with my clients, I am not in my pajamas. I am not in my summer dress. I am not in my, whatever. I actually dress the part. I look and dress the part. Yeah. So the whole worthy and worth it, that took time. Now that took time because I came from a health and wellness industry, and that was my identity, was health and wellness industry. I'm a coach, health coach. And then I shifted to being a financial strategist, and I felt like an impersonator. There's a term for that.
Imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. So I felt like this imposter syndrome, even though, right, I was already handling finances. I'm handling finances in my household. So even though I was already doing that, I still felt, obviously, there's still so much to learn. Even right now, there's still so much to learn about finances. I had to look and dress the part. So look and dress the part, and just kept talking to people. So I kept talking to people, those that are in the finance industry, those that are of the, higher elevated tax bracket. That helped a lot. And I'm talking about people who are saying, like, I have $1 million here. I got 2.5 million. I got 7 million over here. And before I took that class about my money mindset, when that number would appear, it would be like, gasp, like, I can't believe it. Like, why are we talking about this figure? And I would be intimidated. So now when I hear these different figures, I'm like, okay, it's just a figure, right? It doesn't affect me like it would have before. And just like you, Helen, there was a time when I wanted to make things affordable for people. And that's okay, right? That's okay, because it's giving back, it's paying it forward. But there is beauty in charging what you're worth. And that is something that I did tell my brother, because my brother is like, and this is my Hanai brother, he would charge just like that. I'm like, no, but you do so much. You gotta, you gotta charge what you're worth, and that's okay. But it does take a different shift in seeing that you have to value yourself too. Yeah.
Absolutely. One of the things we were talking about, right, is our relationship with money. And I know that to have a money mindset is to go in and see and become aware of what my relationship is with money. And so one of the things I do every day is I'll go straight to my bank account in the mornings, and I will sit with the numbers in there, and I will just say, oh my God, I love you. You're awesome. Thank you for being in my life. I talk to money as if it's another human energy that I can visualize and see, kind of like a big, huge standing $100 bill. Kind of just like, hey, because I want to have a strong, healthy relationship with money. What about
Oh,
you, January?
no, that's actually what I learned too. So in the program, that is exactly what Tasha teaches, is that you have to talk to money and be in relationship, just like what you're saying, be in relationship with money. Because if you have that like lack mindset and whatever, then of course you're not going to look at money in that type of way, right? But if you look at money and you're like, yes, you're here. I love you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Then it just changes. It changes that energy, it changes this like what is it? This flow between you and money. I don't necessarily look at my bank account all the time. Why? Because I have faith. I have faith that everything is okay. Like everything's good. Of course I do look at it, okay? But I do pay attention. But I do have faith. And that was another thing that we talked about, was the faith. It's also incorporated in that book, The Science of Getting Rich, and having faith. And that's a big thing for changing your money mindset. And when I say faith, I don't necessarily mean like a religion or whatever, but I do mean, having faith in God, or higher source, however you want to, name God. For me, it's God. So God is in control, right? And God responds to whatever you ask, but you have to be specific. So that is another thing that I learned, is being specific about what you want.
Ooh, I love that. Yes, faith, belief, knowing you already have it. I wanted to mention something else I learned this morning, that Kathy Heller says. She said, if something isn't a part of our experience, we are not allowing it to be. And that makes sense, right? Because we're resistant to it. She says, if money is not happening in our experience, we aren't allowing it. If we aren't allowing it, it's because we don't feel safe. It's in our thoughts and our feelings. We aren't allowing it in. It's something in us that is there's something in us that is resisting it. I really like that, because when I first started my journey, I started my money journey almost 2 decades ago. And I remember feeling fake, feeling like it, I'd want to buy something and I'd instantly feel this tightness in my body. Like, oh my God, I can't afford it. Like that I can't was already like in my body before the words even came out of my mouth. Same thing happened when I would connect with somebody and I got tight in my body and I thought, oh my God, what does this person want from me? Especially when you get into the business world and you start getting approached by different business women or different businessmen. The first thing you might think is, what do they want from me? Is there a sales pitch? That's that tightness that you're feeling. That's you being safe. That's you guarding yourself. And that's you resisting what could be coming in from that experience. And that gateway, that journey, that conversation could be something that could get you to what you actually desire, which is abundance and prosperity, more money in your life. I mean, is that crazy?
Yeah, absolutely. If you resist it, because I know that feeling. I know that feeling of, oh, they're gonna sell me something, or and it's not so much the person, because it wasn't about the person, but it was more so how much is it? How much is it going to be? And all that, and before, okay, so decades ago, when I would talk about, because I was a distributor for, this health and wellness company. And when I would talk about the product, I would think about what's in my pocket, right? And that was kind of the mind frame that I was going for. And, like $300, was like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. And obviously that's not how I feel about it now. But back then, that was where I came from, right? That was my background, was $300 is a lot for me. It must be a lot for other people. And as I grew my relationship with money and, just changed that flow, it wasn't so intimidating anymore. So now when somebody tries to approach me, it's more so not about the person, never was about the person, right? But for me now, it's more boundaries in terms of, is this a product that's going to help me, or do I already have this product? Those are the things that I'm already thinking. But yeah, before it was more like, oh no, what are they going to sell me? And it was more like, it's $300. I don't know if anyone can afford that. Actually, a story. I do have a story for you. And I don't remember what it was, but I remember how I felt. And in this particular conversation, the person was trying to sell me something. And I don't remember what it was, but the person said something like, oh, it's this much money. And I can feel the trepidation in her voice, and I can feel the fear. And she was like, oh, it's so expensive or something. And I'm like, I can't believe she's saying this, because is she trying to sell me, or is she not trying to sell me? And I can feel she was thinking about the money in her pocket. So I can feel that, and I sensed it. And to me, I was like, just keep going, just keep telling me what it is, because I want to know. I'm all about investing, but the fear in her voice got me. And for me, it's about that mindset again. So we're going to go back to the mind frame. Don't think about what's in your wallet. Think about the value that you're giving to this person. And I think that's the one thing that I learned, was that this is valuable. This is a gift. Whatever you're selling, whatever you're giving as your coaching or whatever, it is a gift. And so as a gift, there's worthiness, there's value in there. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Just go out there but you have to change that mindset first.
Yes, you do have to change that mindset. You got to practice knocking down the walls of fear immediately. And that's something that I used to do, or I put into practice, is I would tell myself right away, they're selling you something. And so what? And even though I was, at the time had so little in my bank account, probably couldn't afford somebody, I told myself, I want to use this experience as a practice for me getting over that fear of, one, talking to somebody who's more wealthier than me, two, getting over the fear of sales, whether it's from my end or their end, and three, I don't want to live in a lack or poverty mindset anymore. I want to come from abundance. And if that's, it all starts within. If your abundance inside is overflowing, that abundance outside is going to be immediately attracted to it, just like bees are attracted to honey, So when I network with people, or people reach out to me and say, oh, I'd love to have a Zoom with you or a conversation with you just to get to know you. Before, old Helen would have been like, what do they want from me? What are they going to try to sell me? New Helen has done so much work on myself that I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Yes, I want to hear what you have to say. Like, I want to get to know you. And of course, there's something in there that they're trying to sell, because maybe, they wouldn't reach out to me for nothing. But I tell myself, okay, they're going to sell you something, and I want you to hear it and not just listen to what they're selling, but listen to how they're selling, because there's something you can learn in that as a businesswoman, business owner yourself. There's something you can learn on how their approach is. So either way, you are getting something from this situation, from this connection. And that immediately shifts my perspective into an abundance mindset, instead of a lack mindset.
Yeah, I think one of the things too that I've learned is the whole not in competition. If we are in competitive with each other, right, then we have this like different mind frame of, oh, I gotta be better, I gotta be better. But for you, it's like, well, I want to learn more, and that opening up of yourself and realizing that there's still much more to learn, that really does open the gateway. It opens the floodway of like new experiences to be learned and to be shared. So for me, we're not in competition with each other. We're going to just cheer each other on, and that's another thing that I learned, as far as money mindset too, is that It's not about, competition. And for me, it was more of my goal. What is my goal? So another thing that I like to express is that you have to be clear as to why. Why do you want to be a millionaire? Why do you want to earn whatever amount of money? What is it to you? And I really had to dig deep with that because, before I would say, yeah, I want to be a millionaire. And I said it very, very, frivolously, just like, yeah, I want to be a millionaire. But I had to really dig deep as to why. The more clear you are as to why you want to be rich or why you want to have wealth and abundance, then that energy, again, with the energy. Okay. So the energy is just going to flow. Okay. It will flow. I have another story for you. So when I first moved to Hawaii, I moved to Hawaii in 2001, somewhere around that time frame. And I moved here with $200 in my bank account, $200. And at the time, whoo, am I going to share this? I'm not sure if I'm going to share that particular story, but $200 in my bank account. And I had faith. I had faith that God was going to provide for me. So I just believed. There's a reason why I wasn't able to work. And so anyway, I put an ad. Okay. I put an ad to be a nanny or a babysitter, and I put it in Aina Haina. Okay. So Aina Haina is a place where I used to live. And it was close by to where my cottage was. And ironically, the ad moved to Hawaii Kai. So now it's in Hawaii Kai, which is further down. Mind you, I don't have a car. I just take the bus. Okay. I took the bus back then. So anyway, this ad was in Hawaii Kai. I got a call from somebody, and they have twins, newborn twins. And I took the interview, even though it was in Hawaii Kai, which is about a 15-20 minute bus ride. If I had a car, it would have been like 5 minutes, but it's extra long because it's a bus, right? Anyway, I went to the interview. I nailed the interview. I got this job. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you, Lord, because this particular family, he was a president of his advertising company. He advertised for Hawaiian Airlines and other, name brand things. And the mom was, an editor for a magazine. And I'm just like, wow, I cannot believe this happened. I just felt like God listened to me. He heard that I needed this. And so the whole $200 in my bank account obviously wasn't $200 anymore. So I just continued on with that mind frame and that mindset of God will provide. That has always been kind of my thing, is God will provide. Did I have a money lack mindset? I did. As time progressed, it kind of reverted, right? Because I had kids and I had, other responsibilities, and it shifted. Anyway, my whole point in telling this story is that you have to read, you have to feed yourself every day. You have to feed yourself positive affirmations of money mindset and wealth, because you can easily revert back to your old self. So that is the one thing that I do want to touch on, is that even with me, I still need to learn. I still need to, embrace, that money mindset, wealth, abundance type of feeling. It's never ending. So continue to grow, to continue to learn.
Wow. Wow. January, first of all, thank you for sharing that story. Gosh, when you were saying that, I could relate so much, riding the bus and having just a couple $100 in my bank account, and sometimes being overdrafted in my account and wondering, where is the money going to come from? How am I going to do this? Just this scared young girl in me that's trying to figure out her way in life and to get ahead, and constantly feeling like I was drowning. And, yes, I was working on my mindset. But you're right. During that time that I was struggling and still making ends meet, I didn't have a full abundance mindset. I still came from a scarcity mindset. However, I put I put the energy out there. I put the good vibes out there as much as I can. When I started speaking in the shelters in 2008, that was all volunteer. I did it for 4 years. I volunteered my time, my money. I'd get off work early. So I docked my pay to go speak in these shelters for free for 4 years. There was a moment I remember specifically where I didn't have gas in my car to go. I didn't have gas to get down from my job to the shelters to speak. And I thought, I have to get down there, because I've always been so big on, if you do what you say or do what you say you're going to do. So that's a huge value to me. So I was like, I have to get down there. And I couldn't take a bus. You can't take a bus into the shelter because it was one of those shelters where it was adults only. They actually had police on the campus. So it was considered pretty dangerous. And I still went by myself, still went in there to teach workshops. And I remember thinking, I've got to figure out a way. And I asked one of my friends, and they gave me a ride down. And on the way down, they're going, why are you doing this? You don't even have the money, and you're going down to teach these people how to like get their lives together. And I said, because me compared to them, as far as where I am in my life, I have a lot more. And I know that I could teach them. And at the same time I'm teaching them, I'm teaching myself, because that was my theme of teaching at the time. We're doing this together. We're in this together. Fast forward, that was 2008. Fast forward, about 7 years ago, I randomly got a gift from an anonymous person. They wanted to pay off my last huge debt, which was $7,000. I want to say 8,000 because it was like 700 and something, but pretty much $8,000. So it was like 5 cents off. So $8,000, I get this call, and this person's anonymous, and they said, we want to gift it to you. We've prayed about it, and we believe that you're going to be doing big work in this world, and we want to give it to you. And I said, are you sure you want to give it to me? Like, there's a lot of children's programs you can give it to. There's all these. They said, I know, but we keep praying about it, and you're the person that keeps coming up. But we just ask that you keep us anonymous. And I thought, I'm not turning to Jesus, I'm not a Jesus follower. So I was like, I'm not telling everybody because of Jesus. I'm not going to go start praying. I ain't going to church. Like, are you sure you want to give it to me? Like, I'm a heathen. Okay. And they still were like, I know. Trust us. We're like, why her, God? And I just started laughing. I was like, all right. Okay. But to me, what I realized in that moment was whether or not we believed in different things, whether, they believed in God and Jesus, and I believed in just like a different style or a different form of spirituality. What I realized is that, going back to faith, that I knew that something big was coming in my life. I knew that money was always coming in, because I'd been broke and I'd come up, been broke, come up. So I saw this pattern of falling, getting back up, falling, getting back up. And I just thought, well, here's my fall. So there's got to be a get back up coming any minute now, God, and that was a huge come up, huge. I remember the next day, I thought they were joking. I even said, hey, if you change your mind, I ain't gonna be mad at you. It's the thought that counts. And the next day I got the money transferred to my account. I immediately, I videotaped it and everything. I videotaped me paying off my last big debt. And I started crying, because to me, this was a reveal of not just faith, but the power of attraction, law of attraction, the power of manifesting, the power of giving, the power of giving and receiving, the power of karma. And one of their big reasons was because of they saw and heard the work that I had been doing for 4 years in the shelters. And I just thought, that right there tells me that when you think you don't have anything to give, there's something else you have to give. And for me, that was energy. I gave my energy, my time.
Thank you. First of all, thank you, Helen, for sacrificing your time, your energy, your money, for helping those in the homeless shelter. That's amazing. And your heart was in the right place. You weren't expecting anything, but the whole good karma, right? What goes around comes around, and your anonymous donors gifted you, and that's amazing. What a true testament of paying it forward, and you weren't expecting anything in return, but God just granted you something that he knew that you needed. So that's such an amazing story.
Yes, I definitely feel like these stories happen all over the world, whether or not you're a believer of God, or you are a believer of spirituality, or even an atheist. Like there's a law of attraction out there. There's a law of manifestation. There's a law of giving and receiving. There is something that is always moving forward in a cycle. And that's why I realize like it's so important that what you do put out there is what you're going to receive back. And it goes back to what Kathy Heller said, like, if it's not in your life, it's because you're not allowing it, right? Either you have boundaries or you're in a place of fear. And that's really important to do the work. Like January was saying, do the work, get the mentors, take the course, read the book, listen to the podcast, do whatever you can to get to know yourself, because whatever's going on in here is going to be put out into the world, and whatever's put out in the world is going to come back to you.
Yes, exactly. You phrased that very eloquently. Definitely what you put out will come back. And that is another lesson that I learned in Science of Getting Rich and the program that I did. It definitely talked about paying it forward without expecting anything in return. So and Helen is a true testament. You're right. Many stories. I have stories myself, of receiving. But for me, the receiving part, it's not just me, right? Because I have my son, my daughter, my husband, and I feel that the energy is just kind of flowing, right? So whatever energy that I'm portraying, right? Whatever energy that I'm giving out or I'm believing, then I feel like it's radiating to my family. And so I can see, I can see the increase, right? The increase of our abundance, the increase of the work that we're all doing, right? Mm-hmm. And it's amazing. So once you one, make that decision to change your money mindset. 2, choose a program, listen to podcasts, read a book, and there's several out there.
Have faith.
Yeah, have faith. That's another one. Number 3 is have faith. And number 4 is paying it forward, and being in gratitude. I guess that's number 5 is bringing gratitude.
Yeah.
So all those things, those 5 different things are really vital in changing our mind frame and changing that energy. Because if you stay stuck in that mind frame, you can't elevate. There's an image, Helen, there's an image of, and I know, you're not a Jesus, this is nothing about religion, but I do like it because it's about God, right? So anyway, the little girl is holding this little tiny teddy bear. So she's holding this tiny teddy bear, and Jesus is in front of her, and she's like, but I like it so much, I can't let it go, right? But Jesus is on the other side, and he's got this huge teddy bear. So he's got this huge thing, and he's like, but I have something better for you, and that's the image that I get when I try to hold on to something, like, oh, God has something better.
Oh my God. I love that visualization. And whether or not, like January said, whether you believe in Jesus or not, you can use that Jesus vision to be a different vision of a golden light, a powerful wealth image, whatever it is. And Jesus himself, goddess, it doesn't matter as long as you have that visualization. Because I love that. You know what? Let's end with that. That was perfect. Thank you, January, for sharing that. I don't know why I started laughing.
It's really cute. I wish I could show it to you.
Okay. Next podcast, bring that image. We can share it on here. I think that's a great idea. How about this? You get your image of Jesus and the teddy bear, and I'll get my image of something else in the teddy bear because I like it. So we could show different visuals of it. I love that idea though.
Awesome.
By the way, people, I'm not against Jesus. Okay. I hope this wasn't like a let's pound on Jesus thing because it's not that way at all. Me and Jesus are tight. All right. I'm just saying that we have a different type of relationship. To each their own.
Yeah. But thank you, Helen. This was so much fun. I can't wait to talk at the next podcast because I know that is our focus for January is money. We are talking about money and
honey. Yes. January, where can people find you?
You can find me at VIP Finance Builders. That's on Instagram and also on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn, January Liddell. Very easy.
Awesome. And you can find me, you can find me, Helen Edwards, on Google. Just Google my name. You can find my book, Nothing Sexier Than Freedom, available on Amazon and Audible. And please, like I said, share this, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and go check us out. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. Ahia. Muchas gracias.
Aloha. Have a great day.
Want to hear more?
Visit us at SexyFreedomMedia.com.